Hi, this is Kathy from Stampin' with Her Father's Daughter. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Northern Michigan. Today I'm going to show you a quick technique. It's another kind of watercoloring technique. It's called Batik. It dates back from 1500 years ago. It's an ancient method where they used wax on cloth to resist dye. So we're going to do it with paper today. So I'll show you the process. Here's the card we ended up with. Okay, so it's similar to the watercoloring that we were doing the other day, except we're going to stamp in Versamark. Versamark is like a clear ink, and it will resist the ink from the ink pads after we emboss it. So there we go with our Versamark. Okay. Stamp this is watercolor paper. I really like this when I'm using watercolor techniques. The ink really helps to absorb it more. Okay, make sure I get a good impression here. Okay, then I'm gonna take my Stampin' embossing tray. Oh, I forgot to use this. See, this is good to get rid of static so that you don't have excess embossing powder. You usually just rub it over the paper, and I forgot. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in here. This is white embossing powder. So I did get it on there. It's not quite center, but you can kind of see the powder there. I can use the brush to brush off any excess if I can see it. Right there. Okay, I'll set this aside. And this. Okay, now we're going to use the heat embossing tool to melt the embossing powder. Hopefully you can see it as it happens. It'll start to melt and it will have a shiny appearance. I remember the first time I learned how to do this, I thought it was the coolest thing because it looks just like a card you'd get at, well, better than a card you'd get at Hallmark, but it's got the extra little touch of the embossment. So let's see if I got it all. It's really hard to tell. Nope, I think I'd want a little bit here. Okay, so you can see, you should see a shine. There's some black specks in my embossing powder, so that's where you get that. We're just gonna say it's adding a little more texture. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this down and we're gonna do the same technique that we did the other day with the water pen and squishing the ink pads. I'm gonna start with the lightest green. Oh, I didn't get very much on there. Okay. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna prime my water pen a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna start and I'm just gonna do this lower half. Obviously, the more you squeeze the pen, the lighter it will be. Okay, and you can see where that's kind of standing out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to close this one and move up to my next color is Granny Apple Green. That first one was Lemon Lime Twist. Okay. And my, oh, here, almost lost it. Okay. And again, I'm just going to go, you can see that's just resisting. And there's another step that we do, but it actually looks pretty nice just like this. Okay, we're done with Granny Apple Green, and we're going to move on to Garden Green. Okay. This one, there's quite a difference in shade, and it's much darker than the Granny Apple Green, so I'm going to add a little more water. Okay, maybe I'll frame the bottom too. Okay, so there you have it. It's a little bit wet right now. I have to show you one more thing that we're going to do. I'm going to try to dry it with my embossing tool so I can show you the next part. Okay, one little drop. Okay, so the next part is we're going to take an iron. I'm just using my little craft iron here. Normally we would use parchment paper, but do you think I could find one piece of parchment paper today? So instead I'm going to use some printer paper. But before I show you what we're going to do, I want you to see the difference. So this still has the shine, this one, and this one's more dull because we've taken the wax off. If you can tell the difference. And I like it like this too. I mean, it depends what you're looking for. Okay, so I just have my little mini iron on 2. There's 3. I'm not sure what temperature that would be. And I'm gonna put this, make sure I don't have wax on this piece. Okay, right here. And then I'm just gonna simply press over the image. And what we're doing is we're just pulling up that wax or embossing powder. It's not truly wax. And it will be on the white paper, and it will be that dull sheen to give it like a true batik look. And obviously you could do this with any colors. I'll show you another sample. I was just kind of messing around. I tried it with some re-inkers, which I think would be neat, but I don't think I saturated the watercolor paper enough to get the look I was looking for. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, there we go. So there, now it's dull. Okay, so let me show you one other image I did. This is still wet. So what I did with this one is I used this misty spray right here with water and sprayed the card, and then I dropped some re-inker ink. I don't know if you know what those, they're just these little bottles like this to re-ink your ink pads. I think it's too saturated right here because I didn't get my cardstock wet enough. So, but I think this would be a cool technique. I just am not happy with the really dark spots right there. I could probably spray it some more, maybe get some of that done. But another idea for some cool card making. All right, I hope you liked this. Be sure to subscribe if you liked what you saw today. I'd appreciate that. And any supplies that you need, you can go to my online store that's right here. And I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.